Councilwoman, would you please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call the meeting to order and open the roll call.
Goodell,
Here.
Slater,
Here.
Scholl,
Here.
Rusher.
And we need a motion to approve the agenda as printed.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We need a motion to approve the minutes of the April 6, 2015 regular council meeting.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Under communications, anything from the public in attendance this evening? If not, Clint, People Service Monthly Report, please.
Well, we'll start with the water plant. We just missed the outage this last month there. Everything stayed on our side, so everything else, the wastewater plant, generators, everything worked good out there. And we did get the valve fixed up there on Rainbow Drive, and we haven't seen any, we're slowly rolling into our summer season now. Our usage is sneaking up on us. And we did get the gears replaced on the spring side. We did get those in, and the garage machine had to actually cut the gears in that, but it's up and running just probably better than what it has been for quite a while. Turbidity meters, we got to calibrate those, and hopefully this week, fingers crossed, we're going to get that running and see if we get the bumps worked out of it, so, because we're going to be needing it here pretty quick, so. And that, and,
Just certain times of the year you have to do that, Clint, or what?
it's for the spring siding, usually we have it all the time, but with all the, everything going down, it was kind of one thing here, and then the wire wouldn't this, and then we get the gears fixed, and just a lot of little things, but now we're finally got it, we're ready to go now, so. And I think there was some wiring on that one turbidity meter, they had to switch around, something wasn't working right on that, so, but they got that all taken care of, so. And wastewater plant, the guys were out from Nutricheck last week, they burned the reeds off. I'm hoping they can get in this small weather window. Time will tell, I guess, but we got that all done. Our east clarifier, I got that back up, and that's running. So we'll switch things over, and then we'll get in that west one and see what's wrong with that. It was just a matter of the east one had some of the support wires and the big sweeps on the bottom were real loose, the tension, so we just snugged them up a little bit, and we're ready to go on that. So we're also in the UV season now, so the UV building's up and running, everything, so we'll be in that for till November, so. Any questions, comments?
Oh, you had in your notes about Slowfield Engineering being up and looking at the
Yeah,
north and
they
south
were
town.
going up
What was
through the
going on
towers.
there, Clint?
They're trying to figure out the lights on the inside, some of the composite, there's a guard that goes around, the old style ones were metal, these were plastic, they melted. They don't know what, why, so they just pulled down, I think one from the south tower and one from the north tower, sent it into CBI, and actually I haven't heard anything yet. Have you heard anything?
He said that they were in contact, they were essentially ready to make payment on retainage. I think this is the last issue. It's kind of a silly little issue.
Little
but
something, yeah, and I don't know if it was, the bulbs were, I don't know what it was, so, but that was the last one. Schloppville was up here for, was checking on that, so.
So it wasn't a communication issue
Nope.
between the towers and the water
Nope.
plant, it was just something.
Yep, just some little thing, so, and that's what it was with those guards and lights
Okay.
inside, so.
the outage was a good test. I know we end up with a lot of power outages over the summer, and so the fact that everything worked, just a little overheat at the main lift station.
Yeah, it was a little, matter of resetting it, so.
So I think
That's
that's
it, so.
hopefully things.
We do have, what else I was gonna bring up, we have a valve down at the main lift station. We got our number 2 pump back. They dropped it in, it was rebuilt. The influence side for that pump, the valve, actually broke in the closed position. So I'm in the process of seeing what we gotta do and get to replace that. So just for a heads up on that. So right now that pump we can't even use it because we can't open it. So, but like I said, the guys from electric pumping that are putting together some stuff to see what we can do to get that fixed. So.
Do they have an estimate on time frame?
I think getting a valve, they're sending something up to me here at some point in time, that John Miller was. So,
Not good during rain season.
no, makes me a little nervous, so hopefully we can get that taken care of as soon as possible, so.
The only other question, we've spoke about it before, but the budget for maintenance and chemicals, that's something that you and Clint will kind of sit down and discuss that? I mean, is
As
that?
far as,
Well, I think they're at like 102 to where it was
Yeah.
budgeted at, and there's
It's-
still 25% left in the calendar year or the budget year. I was just kind of wondering. I mean,
that budget has been set, it was set 5 years ago, I think, is when it was set, and it's just, it has not grown with the increased cost of chemicals and everything else. And so, realistically, what needs to happen is when we renew the,
People's,
when we renew the people
if we,
service.
I mean,
Yeah.
if we do.
When that's considered, then the budget should probably be addressed and increased to more closely track what the actual costs are. We've went over, there's always a true-up at the end of the year. I think every year I've been here, there's been a true-up. Some years it's higher, some years it's lower, but it always exists. It's just a matter of, I think that budget was probably set too low when the contract was first started. It doesn't really change anything because it's whether they carry it or the city carries it, it's all costs that we have to incur no matter what. And so there's nothing that's really a discretionary cost.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you, Clint.
Yep, thank you.
This being the time and place for the scheduled public hearing on the matter of the Humboldt wastewater treatment plant sludge holding tank cover, I'll open the public hearing at 5:38 p.m. Aaron?
This is exactly what was considered at the last meeting, just the use of precast to cover up the digester. Estimated cost is approximately right around $90,000. We'll see where the bids come in. There's been some interest in it as far as with the precast. So it seems like a pretty solid plan. I know that the reasoning behind it was discussed. Obviously, the enclosure, doing a complete enclosure required ventilation and a lot of other things that drove up the cost. Those are pretty common on a lot, you see them down at the water plant and many other wastewater plants. In this situation, when you're retrofitting, it just didn't work very well because of the protrusions and the way that digester is configured. It was hard to get a lid on top of that, so. We went through, yeah, we went through most of it.
Yeah.
It's pretty simple, it's a lid.
Yep.
Do we have any comments from the council? Do we have any written comments or objections on file?
No, we don't.
Do we have any comments or objections from the general public in attendance this evening? There being no more comments or objections on the matter of the Humboldt wastewater treatment plant sludge holding tank cover, we'll close the public hearing at 5:40 p.m. Next public hearing, time and place for the scheduled public hearing on the matter of the application for federal assistance for the purchase of fire truck equipment with USDA Rural Development Community Facilities Grant Program. We'll close the public hearing at 5:40 p.m. Aaron?
This grant has been filed and needs a formal approval from the city council. The grant is to combine with the Community Foundation grant for the replacement of portable radios and a new positive ventilation fan for structure fires. The grant's just under $1,500, and we're newly eligible for the USDA program, and in previous years it hasn't even been open to us, but I think Randy gave us a heads up that we could tap into these funds. And so it's a lot of jumping through hoops, like this public hearing to apply for $1,000, but that definitely help them get the equipment when they have structural fires to help them out. Portable radios, I think, are pretty significant so that each one of them has quality communication if they're entering a structure or battling a fire.
Any comments from the council? Do we have any written comments or objections on file?
No, we don't.
Do we have any comments or objections from the general public in attendance this evening? There being no more comments or objections on the matter of the application for federal assistance for the purchase of fire department equipment with USDA Rural Development Community Facilities Grant Program, I'll close the public hearing at 5:42 p.m. Under new business, we need a motion to approve a new Class B native wine permit for Sisters Homestyle Entrees Incorporated, doing business as Sisters Homestyle Entrees. Order, order.
Yes, it is.
Move to approve. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Next, we need a motion to approve the submitted proposal for a new storm sewer intake near Jet County.
The city received 2 quotes for the work, the storm sewer work. One from Schoen, right?
Schoen?
Schoen?
Yep.
Yeah. Schoen for $35,640, and one from Reddings at $34,940. Obviously, very little separation between the two, so I think we're probably right where we would be, even if we had 4 or 5 quotes. Upon approval, I will have Jetco start working with Reddings to get their side of the project worked out. The storm sewer will take the roof drains from their facility once they bring the water to the right of way. And so Jetco plans on putting in tile all the way back to where the roof drains empty out kind of in the middle of the U of their building. So we'll take a substantial amount of the roof drainage and put it right into a tile so it doesn't come over the surface and cause issues with that street and the surrounding properties. It's very similar to what we did with Liguria when they put in a big expansion. A lot of that water started to come down towards Bell, towards the Rainbow Drive area, and so that we put in that storm sewer to help catch that, and they diverted a lot of the water on the private side, diverted the water to that intake.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Next, we're going to discuss 6th Avenue North Road and the bridge near Dakota City, we commonly call the Rapido. Not a creative way to word it.
Councilman Schull wanted to bring this issue up, and I know it's been a discussion that we've had many times, and I think there's some folks possibly in attendance that are interested in it. We had Schlofeld look at this several years ago, and they gave a proposal of about $230,000 to address the issues in this area to get proper drainage away from the road. Right now, it's getting in, the moisture gets underneath the road and destroys the asphalt. It is a problem area. I drive it every day. It's definitely a rough area of town. But the conversations we've always had is that it's a significant investment to make in a very small area. So I guess this is kind of up to the council to consider. And then my thought would be, we've identified some areas to address over the next project, and then we'll get another round of funding coming up. I think that this project would probably be a substantial project and would probably divert most of the funds that we have available to address roads within the community.
Most probably you still can't fix the bridge problem. You still have one lane going through there, no matter what you do. You can't,
It just seems to me, and I know we had Schlofeld look at it, but it just seems to me, and I drive that a couple times a week, just to see how bad it's getting. It just seems to me that a concrete road there from the intersection down through the rat hole to meet up with the new asphalt that we put in 2 years ago, 3 years ago, would help alleviate, and you're still gonna have that water coming down the street. But at least with concrete, you don't get that water going underneath like you do the blacktop. Once a blacktop's cracked and checkerboarded, it's a big problem. Should it be considered? Yes, I think it should be considered, but I also think, you know, man, I've been driving the streets of Humboldt, and there's a lot of streets that need to be taken care of that we use an awful lot, that a lot of people use an awful lot. I don't know if there's that many Humboldt people that go up through the rat hole. I don't know, it needs to be.
Seems to be a high traffic count sometimes.
Yeah, it needs to be fixed, don't get me wrong, but I think it's not something that I don't think we want to put, at this point, $240,000.
One of the things I discussed with David Dockstead was, you know, what about, as you can see, I mean, you can see it from this, from the county's website here. Yeah, you can see the kind of the rough part is right in the middle there. And I don't know, did you go up ahead of the meeting and?
I didn't have time, I just came from
Oh, okay.
Humboldt, so no, I
But
didn't.
the section that's ripped up, I'm sure everybody noted it, it's, I don't know, maybe 30 feet by 20 foot. You know, it might be a situation where we could do something we did on Jerry Hatcher, where you could do a very deep, full depth patch, pour out a patch in it. And I asked David, I said, you know, how do you think that would hold? And he said, well, it's the same thing as what we did on Jerry Hatcher. He said it's not a pretty solution, but it will keep it from blowing out. Because the street department does spend a significant amount of time, and so you are wasting labor hours in cold mix up there. So, you know, I don't know. That's why you guys get paid pretty much.
Well, the reason I,
It's a tough
council,
decision.
yeah, council member Barb Nielsen from Dakota City, she contacted me and just wanted me to take a look at it and bring it to our attention, like, but I knew most of you guys, John and Daryl, you guys are aware, Walt, you've been around, discussed it numerous times. She just wanted us to be aware of it. I guess they're evidently fielding a lot of calls. People think it's Dakota City's responsibility since it's on the east side of the bridge. And, you know, so there's some confusion. So, you know, they were just looking for us just to, you know, bring it up in conversation and see. But I understand that it's a, you know, a big project and it would, you know, utilize a lot of our resources in a small area. But
I don't
What,
know.
I'm sorry, John, could we put a traffic count up there, like you said, well, you think that some days there's a lot, I mean, would that help?
The DOT does traffic counts throughout the community, and I believe I've got one that's on 6th Avenue. I don't believe they've completed it.
Yeah.
They do them during the summer.
I looked through,
I've got it, I think, over in this area, so.
our 2013 pavement management study,